Hello, kia ora, I'm Philip Duncan. Thank you very much for joining us for our Monday weather update, and we've got a lot to talk about this week. The main features, two areas of low pressure, one up here in the tropics near Tonga. This one's likely to drift down towards New Zealand on Saturday. Now, it may not make a direct hit, but it is definitely worth keeping an eye on. The second feature, an even bigger low pressure system moving into the Great Australian Bight, and this one unfortunately is going to produce a lot of rain, more rain, for the already flooded and saturated parts of inland New South Wales and Victoria. So we've got special map covering that as well. So let's get into it and explain what is going on. First of all, the 72-hour rain map for New Zealand. Now this shows rain coming back to places where it should be falling, the west coast, and the bulk of the rain from the glaciers southwards. North of it, we're only talking about 30 millimetres or so, and that's good because at Greymouth this week, at the end of the week and the weekend, is AgFest being held at the Greymouth Airport. So definitely don't want it pouring with rain by then. So only 30 millimetres or so coming through over the next few days. That's the heaviest falls. Not much in the north, not much in the east either. The heaviest rain in the North Island and the southwestern corner. A little bit of spillover into Waited Upper, but it won't be a huge amount. Temperatures are up in New Zealand. These are the departure from normal maps. Monday on this side, Tuesday on the other. Here are your daytime highs, but the numbers that you see on the key here are showing how much warmer or cooler than average it is. And so last week we were in this area, the 4 to 8 degrees below average, and the pink areas were more than 8 degrees below average as that Antarctic blast came through. This week, subtropical northerlies, reds and yellows, so we're at the other end of the scale, 3 to 4 or 4 to 8 degrees warmer than what has been recorded on this date in the past sort of 30 odd years. So we're definitely going to feel that it's warmer coming up. Now let's go over to Australia, because this is where the bulk of the most serious weather will be over the next 4 or 5 days. It is falling in this zone right here. Heaviest falls down around the mountains and ranges, where you're getting up to maybe 150 millimetres in just 3 days. And nearby northern parts of Tasmania also seeing similar downpours up in the hills. So quite a lot of rain about to fall. And of course, the Murray River, which drains out from this catchment area. So even though the rainfall totals over here on the western side of Victoria and heading in towards South Australia aren't as great, keep in mind that the catchment's over here on this side draining out. So hopefully most of it drains southwards, but Melbourne certainly in for some heavy rain, and more rain causing problems with slips and flooding. For those who did watch Bathurst over the weekend, remarkably wet. The grass was green. You know, that is quite surprising for this time of the year to be seeing it so wet, but it's not surprising on the other hand with the types of weather patterns we've got going on at the moment. So let's try and make sense of what is about to happen. Here we are on Tuesday, so blocking high pressure, warm northerlies coming down from Adelaide to Melbourne to Hobart, and over in New Zealand, cooler sou'westers are blowing through. Sou'westers up the South Island, westerlies or nor'westers for the North Island, and a few showers. There is that weak front. We talked about this last week, that it was going to be sort of not very energetic, running into these big blocks of high pressure. So just a few showers coming in from that system, otherwise dry, and not overly wet in Australia. We've got showers around Perth and to the south there, and we've got showers with easterlies coming in around the eastern side, but very low accumulation and otherwise dry. By Wednesday, still not a huge amount of rain coming in, but you're starting to see the low here producing some rain for South Australia, and more importantly out here, north of Melbourne in Victoria. That's the area to keep a close eye on. By Thursday, you can see why. The low's moving along, but slowing down, blocked by this high. Very similar to what we saw just this past weekend with the rain and flooding through parts of northern Victoria and inland New South Wales. Blocked by high pressure out in the Tasman. We've got that again happening this week here as we move through the week. So Thursday's a wet day for the southeastern corner of Australia. In New Zealand, we've got easterlies blowing through on the top end of this high. So that could produce showers and localised rain. Keep up to date with ruralweather.co.nz to drill down to see what your local totals will be. By the end of the week, the good news in Australia, at least from a rain point of view, is that most of it is clearing now and pushing out to sea. Just a few showers for Sydney and not much coming in for Brisbane later on in the day. And north of Auckland, that's where we'll be getting the rain and showers as we go through towards the end of the week here. But It is worth noting, here in New Zealand, windy easterlies blowing through, and here in Australia, strong westerlies blowing through, gale force through Bass Strait and coastal areas. And why don't the two meet? Well, in the middle of the Tasman, high pressure stops that from happening. And our final map here shows why we're saying that low in the north is worth keeping an eye on. Now, if we take a good close look at this, it is almost entirely offshore here on Saturday. But it's a big system, it's very close, and it could move in closer than that. So it is worth keeping an eye on this one just in case it pushes in with wind and rain for the New Zealand area. But at this stage, we're right on the edge of a low and a big high as we kick off the weekend. And Australia, good news for you as we kick off this weekend. High and dry weather coming back into areas that have had a huge amount of rain over the last few weeks. That's all from me. We'll be back again on Tuesday with our next update. We'll see you then.